Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books coming out on either November 30th or December 1st, 2021. And I ask myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? I hope you all had a really happy and enjoyable Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. I know I had a very nice Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday. It's part of the reason that this video is a little bit late this week. I've been spending a little bit of extra time with my family, so forgive me for my tardiness. I'm also going to try to move through this video fairly quickly today so that we can all go back to spending time with our friends and loved ones. All right, let's go ahead and start off this video by taking a look back to my pick from 2 weeks ago, which was Radio Apocalypse, issue number 1. And the question remains, was it a worthy and worthwhile pick to be my just one book pick of the week? And the answer is no. Not that it was bad. It was not bad. It was just really kind of typical in a way, and not as special as I thought it was. They encourage listening to music while reading it, or imagining listening to music, which is actually what I did. And there are some specific references to pieces of music in there. And so I know that imagining that music is playing while you're reading the comic book is part of the experience. But it didn't really play out for me. It seemed a little disassociated, even though it's about a radio station. I know it sets a mood, but the mood didn't quite match up for me with the images, I guess, in a way. So it was interesting, not bad, but it wasn't really just one book pick of the week as far as I was concerned. In fact, a book that I neglected to mention in the video that I made for the week that Radio Apocalypse came out, called What's the Farthest Place from Here? Which has a similar theme of music and post-apocalyptic existence, was actually, to me, much better of a book than Radio Apocalypse. So, if you're looking for a music influenced post-apocalyptic story, you might want to check out What's the Furthest Place from Here, and maybe not so much Radio Apocalypse, although they both have their place and their value. Okay, I said this video was going to be fast. That was not a good start. So let's go ahead and move forward next by looking at my 5 honorable mentions, and then I will talk about my just one book pick of the week. My first honorable mention is a new book. It is called King of Spies, issue number 1 of a 4-part limited series from Image Comics. Here is the description. The world's greatest secret agent has 6 months to live. Does he die quietly in a hospital bed, or does he make up for a lifetime of bad decisions? He's been propping up an unfair system for over 40 years. Now he knows where all the bodies are buried and has nothing to lose when he turns his guns on everyone who ever made a buck, creating a mess we're in right now. Register pitch. An action-adventure story that's part spy thriller, part revenge rampage, James Bond meets John Wick. So basically it's about a spy at the end of his life. He's been a spy for many, many years. He's dying, and he's going to try to right as many wrongs as he can in the time he has left. It's also written by Mark Millar with art by Matteo Scalera. So this book, to me, has a lot of things going for it. It sounds like it could be an exciting, adventure-filled story. With high stakes and lots of action. So if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, man, you definitely want to check out this book this week. The next book that I want to mention to you is Avengers, issue number 50 from Marvel Comics. Here's the description. Commemorating legacy number 750. This is Legacy issue number 750. Supersized extravaganza of Earth's mightiest action and surprises. Witness the jaw-dropping conclusion of World War She-Hulk. Learn the true purpose of the prehistoric Avengers. Uncover the shocking secret of the Iron Inquisitor. Behold the most powerful collection of super psychopaths that any Earth has ever seen. Watch the Avengers recruit some shocking new members. And follow the Ghost Rider on a quest for vengeance across the multiverse that will spark an all-new era in Avengers history. Plus, a bonus story featuring Thor by Christopher Riocchio and Steve McNevin. This is written by Jason Aaron and the Christopher I just mentioned, with art by Aaron Cooter and more. Let's face facts. The reason I mention this is because the Avengers are you can't just ignore the Avengers. I mean, they're Earth's mightiest heroes. They're the best of the best that the Marvel Universe has to offer. And although their makeup has changed over the years, I mean, they are a great place. I'm always a big fan of stories that challenge any one superhero to the point where you need a group of superheroes to solve the problem. So the Avengers is really great and exciting that way. This is history, that it's Legacy issue number 750. You hope that they would pull out all the stops, at least from a story perspective, to honor this 750th anniversary, an anniversary that I would personally consider to be a significant one. Whether or not it'll have spec potential or not, maybe it will. I doubt that it will. Oftentimes these anniversary issues don't, but I think it will have significance and be a very fun and entertaining read as they celebrate the greatest superhero team in the Marvel Universe, at least. The next book that I want to mention is Daredevil, issue number 36 from Marvel Comics. Here is the description. Final issue. After a romance that's blossomed over the last 2 years in Daredevil, Mayor Wilson Fisk and Typhoid Mary are prepared to tie the knot, but in a fashion truly befitting the House of Ideas. Calamity is right behind the corner for the happy couple. But what sort of terrible discovery could be so monumental as to derail the most powerful man in New York's special day? The answer lies in the oversized special issue. If you get no other Daredevil issue this year, you must get this one. Well, that's probably a hyperbole, but once again, they are calling this the final issue of Daredevil. That's not exactly true. There was often some debate about whether or not, I think they're going from this into that Devil's Reign storyline that really focuses on the Kingpin. That's going to be a special event. That's going to be a kind of a seasonal event in the Marvel Universe. And then I'm pretty sure that Chip Zdarsky is going back to writing Daredevil. I think I remember reading about him talking about it. He's like, there will be more Daredevil past issue number 36, whether they call it issue number 37 or they call it a new issue number 1 remain to be seen. Well, this description implied that this will be a reboot of the Daredevil storyline with an issue number 1. So what's going to happen of significance in this Daredevil 36? We'll see. How is it going to influence what's happening in Devil's Reign? We'll see. Will all the main exciting things take place in Devil's Reign, or will we see the beginning of it here? We'll see. But all I know is that Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil has had a lot of acclaim, and so it's worth taking notice of. If you haven't been reading Daredevil, are you going to run out and buy this one? Probably not. I've read some Daredevil here and there. Am I planning on running out and buying this one? Probably not. But it's on my radar. It's noteworthy. I wanted to make sure that it was on your radar as well. The next book that I want to mention is a new book. It is called Animal Castle. Issue number 1 from A Blaze. Here's the description. On the farm, all animals were equal. In the castle, some are more equal than others. For fans of the best-selling Stray Dogs and Eisner Award-winning Beasts of Burden comes an animal fable at once familiar and surprising. You may think you know the story, but set aside your assumptions. This animal uprising is unlike any you have read. Nestled in the heart of a farm forgotten by men, the animal castle is ruled with an iron hoof by President Cilio. The bull and its dog militia savor their power, while the other animals are exhausted by work, until the arrival of the mysterious Azalard, a traveling rat who will teach them the secrets of civil disobedience. All right, well, this is clearly some form of political tale veiled in the form of animals, living out their life, like my dog that's growling off to the side over here. He's definitely interested in this one. It sounds like it could be a really good story. It's one of those things that these type of political kind of ideas of the rulers and the workers and the dynamics between them are not new stories, not new ideas. Even placing them in the world of the animal kingdom is not a new idea. But the animal kingdom is a good place for these type of stories to take place. So, they do evoke stray dogs here. I don't know if this is necessarily worth evoking stray dogs in this situation. I think stray dogs was a bit of a different thing. But it's going to take a story that we can all relate to as humans, put it through the lens of an animal perspective, and hopefully turn out to be a really enjoyable story. So if all of this sounds interesting to you, Animal Castle is a book that you might want to check out this week. Okay, so a feature that takes place often in my videos is going to return right now, and that feature is Tyne in Time. Yes, another installment of Tyne in Time. I can't help myself. James Tynion IV is amazing and keeps turning out amazing books, so I keep having Tyne in Time. Two books that I want to mention, but not necessarily feature as part of Tyne in Time this week, is that James Tynion IV has 4 books coming out this week. He has The Joker 2021 Annual coming out this week, which we're not going to really talk about. He also has The Batman 2021 Annual coming out this week, which we're also not really going to talk about. What I do want to talk about is Batman Fear State Omega, issue number 1. It's a one-shot from DC Comics. Here's the description. As Gotham's fear state comes to a close, a new day dawns on the city, one without Batman. But the Dark Knight's absence does not mean the city is without heroes. Join James Tynion IV and Riccardo Federici as they bring Fear State to its conclusion and introduce a new status quo that will reverberate through the DCU for years to come. All right, the reason I mention this one are a few-fold. This is the end of the Fear State storyline, James Tynion IV's final storyline as the writer of Batman. In addition, I liked the Fear State storyline a lot. The Scarecrow is one of my favorite Batman villains, and I think he's underused. And I really think he was used really well by James Tynion IV. Kind of not in his typical way either, of just, I'm hitting you with fear gas, ha ha ha, fear me. No, he was playing mind games, and he had this kind of grand agenda of how he was going to help Gotham evolve out of its doldrums or out of its current, negative headspace. He thought that by pushing the envelope of fear to a point that he would break through into a new world order. That's kind of, he was well intended. It was kind of a cool idea. And I thought that the story was really, really great from James Tynion IV. So that's another reason that I wanted to mention this book. But you can't ignore that this description here says that it will introduce a new status quo that will reverberate throughout the DCU for years to come. For years to come. A new status quo. Now, that's a pretty big statement, so I don't know if we're talking about the future state world that we saw, a while back. I guess was it the beginning of this year when we saw all the future state titles and what could be happening in the future of Gotham City and in the DC universe as well. It seems like some of those things were going to come to fruition, but now I have a hard time seeing how some of those things could come to fruition. But they're not talking about, how the new status quo will be for the time being. They're saying for years to come. So we're seeing a new world order in the DC universe, and it's going to start here. So if you're interested in checking that out and getting a glimpse as to what that might be, you might want to check out Batman Fear State Omega issue number 1. All right, those are all of my honorable mentions. Now I want to mention to you the one book that I would buy this week if I could buy only just one book. It's not only one book. The new book that I would buy this week if I could buy just one book, and that book would be The Department of Truth, issue number 14 from Image Comics. I know. Stick with me. Here's the description. In 1946, Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard and eccentric rocket scientist Jack Parsons performed a series of rituals to summon a divine feminine being. Her name was Babylon. She was dressed all in red. Eisner winner John J. Pearson joins the Department of Truth for an occult blast from the past. Okay. If you've been paying attention to the Department of Truth in any way, shape, or form, you know about the woman in red. Even if you've barely been paying attention to the Department of Truth, you know about the woman in red. Why? Because she is one of the most iconic characters from the series. She has been used on so many covers. She's the woman in the red dress, oftentimes wearing sunglasses, and always with black X's over her eyes. She's just one of those images that evokes everything about the Department of Truth. But here's the deal. She has been extremely underused on the interior pages. While she's all over the covers, you never see her inside the book. She was there, not never, she was there in issue number 1. She may have appeared in other places, but basically she's generally a cover art character. Well, now we are going to get her origin. We are going to get more information about the lady in red. And that is significant, okay? As far as the bad guys are concerned, we've been hearing a lot about the star-faced man and very little about the woman in red until now. And I am excited about that, without a doubt. As a Department of Truth fan, I need more information about this character that has become such an important part of the visual elements of the Department of Truth. And knowing James Tynion IV, I'm sure that he has cooked up an exciting and just a superb origin story for a character that he also knows is very significant to the readers and to the image, I guess, that is being projected by the Department of Truth. And that's basically it. That's basically all the reason. Everything else about this book is stuff that you've already heard me talk about. James Tynion IV is an amazing writer, and every issue of the Department of Truth has been a joy for me to read. Martin Simmons, who usually does the interior art, is doing the cover on this book, but he is not doing he's doing the cover, but he's not doing the interior art on this one. He's taking a little bit of a break. I believe he'll be back with issue number 16. Instead, we get John Pearson. I don't know much about John Pearson, but I've noticed that James Tynion IV does a really good job picking artists. So I'm sure his art is going to be very different from Martin Simmons, but it's probably going to be right in line for the story that he's telling with this book. It's an amazing book. Any issue of the Department of Truth is worth picking up. But if you've never picked up any issues and you've always been curious, I would recommend this as being one of those issues that you could jump in and check out and get a great sense of what is fantastic about this story and about this title. So those are all the reasons, and this is not like an exciting week. This is not like a superb week. So there wasn't like a clear victor for me this week, which is why when I saw this book and I saw what this book was about, The Origin of the Lady in Red, I was like, this has to be my pick for the week. And there it is. My just one book pick for this week is The Department of Truth, issue number 14. All right, well, I hope this video wasn't too long. I tend to maybe ramble just a little bit, but I get excited and I have information that I want to share. I know I don't have to say these things. You guys know how YouTube works. If you want to help support me, hit the like button or subscribe. I appreciate that. Those things help tell the YouTube algorithm to encourage people to check it out as well. So if you want to support me, please consider doing those things. Thank you, as always, for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.